Welcome everybody to this Twin Peaks episode. We're doing more Twin Peaks. Could you even fathom that?
Could you even believe?
I'm here with my Broichi boys. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys. Hello, Broichi.
We are on episode 16 out of 18 of this show. Oh my gosh, we're getting close.
Yeah.
The penultimate, right?
What will we do for a Klondike bar?
No.
Do you guys recall what happened on the last episode? It was called
No.
There's Fear. There's some fear, or no?
Oh, that was
In letting
was,
go. Yeah, there's some fear in letting go.
yeah, it was the ultimate cold ones for Margaret.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of like
Philip
other things that
Jeffries.
happen too.
Philip Jeffries, the tea kettle.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, Mr. C visiting the convenience store and
Convenience
then
store,
Richard like accosting him and them fucking off together.
Andy having a dream.
And Andy having a dream?
Yeah, Deputy Andy like going to the other place with the fireman and getting like that expo
That
done.
was the episode before, wasn't it?
Yeah, that wasn't the last episode.
Oh,
That
that's
wasn't the
right.
last episode.
That was the
this-
most
this-
recent one that we put up on our channel. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
What am I
Yeah.
thinking? Okay, what else?
Well,
happened in
so-
that one?
I do now. I'm remembering more now that we're talking about it. I remember the stuff between Big Ed and Norma and Nadine, where Nadine like had her
says like,
culmination of
"I'm
the
sorry, Ed.
golden shovel moment.
I've been such a bitch.
Oh yeah, she dug herself out the shit, dude.
Bitch. Yeah, but that's nice too that we get like a bit of a payoff too for the Jacoby stuff, and
Jacobus.
Nadine and Ed and all in one big caboodle. They had like a Nadine's like, I've been a bitch. You're free to go. Kiss Norma. And then he runs off and he tries to kiss Norma, but Norma's like, my
boyfriend's
boyfriend,
here.
fiance, something like that is here. And then she basically tells him to go kick rocks, like, hey, you're taking too much of a strong hand with my business and I don't want any part of it, so cash me out.
I'm done with this shit.
And then she tells him to fucking kick rocks, and then they kiss, and then Big Ed and Norma smooch, and it's like, yay!
Yay! Finally, after all this time. That was a good part. Do you guys remember the bar fight with Hulk Hand?
I was gonna say, I'm remembering like shenanigans at the
shotgun
Roadhouse
blast.
doesn't James just go up to the table and he's like, hey, I just want to say like hi.
I just wanted to say hi. And they're like,
And then
what the
the
fuck,
guys-
James? I'm gonna kick your ass.
Yeah. And then, yeah, Mr. I forget what it's another J name, right? Jeff? His friend, the Hulk Hands kid,
Yeah.
steps in and clocks him a couple with a shotgun blast punch.
And then they get thrown in jail with Mimic and yelling at him.
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened with Dougie? There was a big significant part that happened with Dougie.
Yes. The big significant part, yes. I think there was a couple of other things that happened with Dougie too. Because the last one was not the one where he went and got pie with Sizemore, is that right?
No,
That was two ago.
That was a couple ago. This one was
Yeah,
Janie E gives him cake,
Mhm.
and he
eats the cake.
he turns on he's eating the cake, but he turns on the TV and it's Sunset Boulevard, and
Yeah.
he hears the name Gordon Cole, and that's when he's
Yes.
like, oh,
You
he's
see it
like-
on his face. He's like, holy shit.
and he's like, you know what this makes me want to do, right? Stick a fork
Yeah.
in the outlet.
He has to like figure out how to do that. He gives it a shot and it doesn't work and say,
Yeah, and then that scene right after that is Margaret's like goodbye to Hawk, and it's kind of bittersweet, him just listening to that while Frank Truman is looking at fish on his laptop. Pictures
of fish. Yep. If he can't be out fishing, that's the next best thing.
He's
It's
fishing
just-
for some nice pictures.
Let me Google fish. Hold on, I'm gonna try Bing. Try those waters.
And yeah, the last scene, if you recall, was that girl at the Roadhouse getting kicked out of the booth and yelling on the
Yes.
floor.
that has always been the since we've seen that now. I've not talked about that because that has always been out of any of the Roadhouse scenes from season 3. It's been that and the one of the guy sweeping that have stuck out like just so vivid in my mind since I watched them first. And yeah, very much one of those scenes of like, why?
Yeah, why is this happening?
Why is she so upset? Why is she handling it the way she does?
Right. Yeah. I thought that was kind of... Her name was Charlene Yee. She plays a character, Ruby. That was her character's name in that scene, I guess. And Charlene Yee has been friends with, or was in cahoots with Michael Cera and things like that.
Yeah,
She's been in other...
Yeah, fucking screaming on the floor and this, yeah.
Yeah. So that was that episode. Are you guys excited for this next one? It's called No Knock, No Doorbell.
Hold up.
So, let's see what that significance of that is. Let's do it. Interesting stuff.
Well, where do we start? Episode 16. Where do
Episode
we
16,
start?
guys. How about that?
That happened this episode.
Wasn't that great though, Groucho? How'd you feel
That's what
about
I'm
that
saying.
episode?
The big thick dick, dude.
Oh, dude. But like when you said like the big, you said like big thick dick of like exposition though, but there wasn't that. There's actually like a lot of shit happening though.
Yes, but that's this is
Like,
David Lynch's
I'm
version
thinking big
of
thick dick
exposition.
of exposition. When I'm thinking big thick dick of exposition, I'm just thinking of some dude lore dumping on you for like 10 minutes. That didn't happen this episode,
Just
so
a
I'm glad
chubby
about
soup-looking motherfucker with a trash
Sure.
bag, just dropping
Sure.
that cock in there. Just
it. Stubbiest soup I've ever seen.
There is that, but there's also this like Lynchian style exposition where it's not words, it's just scenes and
Right.
and tone and things that are informing and revealing information. But I mean, there was a decent amount of like informational reveal, even though it wasn't like a dump. That's maybe going to be. I think there's like a yin and a yang. This was the action episode, and I think maybe next one and 18 are going to be a little bit more, still like action, like things happening, but
Right.
more dialogue to be just like, wait, what does that mean? What did you say? What?
So
Yeah.
let's start. Let's start with the first couple
Yep.
scenes here. We have Doppelcoop, Mr. C, and his son, Richard.
Vicky C. Who's doing the chirp sound effect?
Oh, that's just Bracho outside.
That's a cricket in real life.
Okay, I was like, wow, that's really good timing.
So when I fucking behind the scenes here, they were having trouble hearing me. When I was jiggering things, there's a bunch of like noise suppression and like echo suppression and stuff, and I figured since I'm outside, maybe that's what was fucking with me. So I
Oh.
turned that. So
I thought somebody was actually using like the cricket sound on the soundboard,
that's
just like
organic.
with that good of timing.
It's organic in real life, dude. Nothing has better timing than a cricket, dude.
Eric in the Moonlight.
Eric
doing
in the
a Fargo
Moonlight.
Nuts episode.
Having a wonderful time.
So
That's the name of your album when you do a jazz clarinet rendition.
Yeah, dude.
So we have this scene with Richard and Doppelcoop, and Cooper wants him to go to this rock on this hill, this little bluff, and tells him to go stand on that rock and use this kind of device, and once it like has a continuous hum, you know you found it. And he was telling him about two separate places, right? Or he was like two signals or two something or others, right? I forgot exactly.
He had Mr. C was saying, because Richard was just asking like, we're here now, what now? Mr. C was telling him that he had been in communication with 3 different sources, and each of these sources had given him coordinates. Out of those 3, 2 of them matched. So he's like, what do we do now, son? We check out the ones that match. He's like, good, I'm very proud of you, my son, my boy, my proud.
Mm-hmm.
And Yeah, sends him up to the rock.
And
But-
this is just the start of the interesting, weird stuff that happens, because we know that Jerry has been on a little sojourn out into the wilderness, and he stumbles across what's happening here, and he thinks he's the cause of what happens to Dickie Boy here, because he's
Or
looking
that the
through
binoculars are like
yeah,
the
binoculars are the
source of
bad
what
ones.
showed him that. So he's like, no.
I just love the scenes. Like, we haven't seen Jerry in a while. We just know he's lost out in the wilderness, or just having
We just
having
know
a
that
moment.
he's out there.
Yeah, he's just
Yeah.
out there. But he
Yeah.
witnesses this weird situation go down, and yeah, Richard just sparks up and
Well,
turns into a bright light.
Watching this for the second time, I did notice that, like, because my memory of it was just that, like, yeah, basically what we're seeing here, like, bright light, sparking sounds and effects and things, and then he disappears. But, like, if you watch closely, he kind of does from the, like, fingertips and toes, like, from out in, he kind of dissolves, and then it ends with him, like, yeah, torso, and then it goes to, like, neck, and it's just his head.
Mhm.
I when we were watching this, I was like, are we going to cut to the Red Room and see, like, his body lying on the ground like we saw Dougie, or like Ray, when Ray died? I was like, I just didn't remember what we saw.
Mhm.
And it's interesting to me that we don't see anything other than him just getting fucking zapped here. Like, he becomes Shazam and then leaves the show. So
Right, he gets raptured, or like some kind of significant nexus point of Sky People just beam a projected like disintegration ray on him or something.
the thing, the way that I've always read this is that Mr. C kind of, like, called the bluff. Instead of being like, oh, these two data points matching means that it's true, he sees that as, I know that I'm a shady fuck, and when two people are giving me information that match, I'm seeing that as an ambush or as a
Yep.
trap. So
Yep.
that's why he sent Richard up there. Is he's just like, I know that there's some. I don't trust what's going on. I want you to find out. And sadly, it was just immediate, spontaneous combustion.
Mhm.
Hell yeah.
And then we get a text, smiley face, all not delivered yet. So
Whatever.
we know
that doesn't matter.
we know where that's gonna go eventually.
Yep.
And then we get to this scene where, I mean, we jump around, but we know that the hitmen that were going to kill, they were, I think, on a mission from Mr. C to kill Dougie and his subordinates, or the people that are around Dougie.
Yeah, I forget because previously Chantel and Hutch, I think,
Yeah.
these guys have been under the employ of the Mitchums to do something.
No. Not under the
Well,
Mitchums.
weren't they? Weren't
Under
they?
Mr. Todd. And Mr. Todd by way of Mr. C.
Oh, that's what it was. Yes. Yeah. So they're out there trying to get Dougie.
Yeah. But the last time we saw them, they were tying up loose ends with the warden. They shot the warden. And
They shot Mr. Todd.
That's true. Mr. Todd and his
she showed up. I think that was
secretary.
last episode. She showed up at his office
Yeah, you're right.
undercover.
So they're staking out Dougie's place, waiting for Dougie
Yep.
to show up.
And, gosh, I mean, like,
It's
say
funny,
what you will about the purpose of, like, these characters and these scenes, but I enjoy them. Like, they're two good performers, and it very much is just like, hey, I liked fucking Hateful Eight. Let's just take those characters and have them operate in my world and enjoy eating munchies.
Right. So this is like this whole episode for me was just, when I watched it for the first time, I distinctly remember really enjoying every sequence, every little like side story and like B plot that kind of culminates in this big showdown at the end. And even like the wrench that gets thrown in towards the to kind of incite everything, the action of that guy just showing up at his house and like knocking on their door like, hey, you're in my driveway, get out of here. Like, those little things, I'm just like, oh, this is going down. And like the quick cuts and like the pacing of it was just so perfect for me watching it as the first time viewer. It's just, everything hit perfectly.
There, I I just want to say that I agree completely, because having watched this on release, like the day that it comes out on the Showtime streaming whatever, it was very much like almost a feeling of like, are they showing this on TV?
Right.
Right.
The aimlessness of some of it is what I mean, and the Lynchian auteur, dialed up to 110% is just like, am I seeing what I'm seeing, or am I just fucking having a stroke?
And that's how you know you're watching some real David Lynch shit.
Yeah.
So then we get Dougie in the hospital. Mitchum brothers show up. Sonny Jim, Janie E, and Bushnell are all waiting for him because in the previous episode, like we said, he stuck a fork in an outlet after hearing Gordon Cole, and then something kind of like ignited his memory and led him to hear the electricity from whence he came. He was birthed out of an outlet, so he's trying to complete the circuit, or
Yeah, he knew that was like some sort of connection there, so he made the leap and ended up where he is.
It's kind of interesting. Yeah, he ends up in a place where like there's a lot of electricity happening 24/7. Like the Vegas Strip is like always on, like it never gets turned off. So there's electricity humming everywhere. He's in casinos where there's lights and all these
that's
things
a very
happening.
good point.
It's just a little like thematic thing to have tied around him, is like this ever-present electricity kind of beckoning him to like, hey, stick a fork in me, bud. Stick a fork in me. Go back to and become who you were meant to be.
Well, maybe on a grander scale, that's why he was able to like.
Oh, we got a good shot of the hands. We got the fingers.
Yeah, God, one of the Mitchums. Look at the other brothers being like, he's doing his hand inspection thing with kids.
Oh my god!
I like. Can we just play this scene for 2 seconds, really quick?
Okay, here we go.
Just I want to see what the subtitles say.
Bought your gym set and the car. Thank you.
Don't mention every kid should have a gym set, huh?
Here we go.
See that? Look at that.
Let me see that. Look at that.
Look at that. Look at that.
Look at that hand. Oh, let me see that.
So we briefly, Wilson, I want you to kind of talk about this too, because towards the end of this episode, you kind of had like an epiphany, or like a cool little thought experiment talking about the difference between the Mitchums and the Horns. So can you talk a little bit about that and like the perceived like ideas maybe that the audience has on them?
Well, this was just something that I had never like consciously acknowledged before, and it really hit home this episode with their portrayal here and in the next part of them like restocking their house and like seeing them have like little antics. It just reminded me of Ben and Jerry from seasons 1 and 2, where we constantly are cutting to them having these little scenes of them like reminiscing of past behaviors and things that happened. And it is just an interesting like commentary of the show. It's one of those moments of the show commenting on itself, which happens, I think, not infrequently in The Return, but you have to really look for those moments and figure out when those happen and what they're commenting on.
They're not too obvious, and they're not always in your face. And like, even though those are the same thing, and not like uber frequent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're there, but they're not beating you over the head with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this to me was like, okay, we had the Horns before, two brothers. On the surface, they're like supposed to be the moneymakers of the town, big influencers, but they're shady. They're running operations at this like shady casino that nobody knows about, drug dealing, prostitution, all kinds of bad things.
Yeah.
And then the Mitchum brothers here, like everything is so much more like on the surface. Like we know that they run a casino. We know that they are perceived as gangsters, perceived as like negative influences in the town rather than maybe positive overall. And yet every single thing like, or most of what we see these two characters do on screen in the show is be pretty decent people, or if not like good people. And it's just like, we saw night, now here's day.
Yep.
Right. The horns lived up to the reputation, whereas these guys proved an exception to the rule.
Yeah, very much so.
From this scene, then, after, according to Jim, liking those fingers.
According to Jim and fucking Writer Strike Heroes guy.
According to Jim, how many digits we got?
And we get the Andes showing up with some finger sandwiches.
The finger Andes.
You did what to the sandwiches?
And then this is where
that's a good shot of his boss right there.
Bushnell's taking interest in those fingers too.
Hey guys, what are you doing? You're stocking
Hold on. I didn't see him before. Let me see those fingers.
They offered to stock the Janie E's house with some goodies and stuff, so they ask for her keys. And then they're off. And then
we're off.
We get a interesting scine where Gordon is just contemplating something. We don't really know what he's thinking. He's just
staring at the equipment. Like,
yeah,
that's really all it is. He's just staring at it.
We don't even know what all this equipment's for. Is it for tracking? It's like it's got graphs and maps.
Like server? Yeah. Yeah, there's maps, there's graphs, there's all kinds of shit. There's dials, buttons, knobs, panels.
Doohickeys, thingamabobs.
Doohickeys, thingamabobs.
And then we get a quick scene here where I guess they just, Sonny Jim has to go pee. That was it.
Sonny Jim has to go pee, and Bushnell gets a call that the FBI were at his office looking for Dougie.
Right.
And then they left because he wasn't there.
And then we get some FBI.
Then this is the scene that you're talking about.
This is the big scene where it all goes down. So we got 2 cars now pulled up waiting for Dougie's appearance. And then the Mitchums show up in a limo and finger sandwiches. Bradshaw?
Dude, you did what to the sandwiches?
And a few other guys carrying in some food. Just stocking their stuff. And then they leave. Mitchums are still hanging out there. And then this other guy shows up.
Mitchums, dude.
That's an across the street neighbor. And asks Chantal and Hutch to get out of his driveway, and they get kind of just pissed off and tell him to go kick rocks. And then Chantal shoots at him, shoots his windshield, and then he fires back. And I was not expecting this dude just to have an arsenal, but he basically just does that. Like, he grabs a huge clip out of the back of his trunk, clips Chantal, and she says something like, "He winged me."
Yeah.
And then we get Hutch grabbing a shotgun and blasting.
Yeah. When he impacts the windshield and just punches through the thing, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
the sounds were great. Like, that's another thing that I really enjoyed, was like, it seemed realistic. Just boom.
Can you guys try to picture a David Lynch like directing something like Heat? Like,
right. This would be it. I mean, this would be it. Just like a.
I really think that he would do well. He does well with tension and the building of atmosphere and tone so well that if you put that towards suspense and like the Hitchcock, building suspense, building tension, all these things, he could really, really knock it out of the park.
Yep.
Hitch what?
Yeah.
And then we get a shot of this dude just basically laying it into the back of that van with his huge Uzi. And all the while, the Mitchums are just watching, and they're just like bewildered by the whole situation. Like, let's put our.
They have the best comedic moment. They have the best comedic moment in the entire episode, in my opinion, where this whole shootout's happening. We see Tim Roth get fucking riddled with bullets, and then he's like, "Hey, this is really a lot of shit, huh?" And he's like, "People are very stressed out right now, Brad."
Yeah, that was a good scene.
All the time blowing in the wind. Look at that hero.
Like, the whole time this guy just shows up. This is the first time I've ever seen this guy in the show. He's just shows up like a badass and kills these hitmen that have been just fucking with all these poor people. Well, not all of them are poor people, but you know the situations that led them to be in were horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy just shows up and is like just a badass hero, and gets told by the FBI to stand down, throw his gun down, and that leads them to the Mitchums to just go back inside, like nothing happened. Let's just go back in.
And so Bushnell gets like distracted out of the room so that Mike can come in and
he
do
like
his thing uninterrupted.
He hears the it had to have been Mike then that was using those like frequency hums at the Great Northern, you know, like
or yes, I don't disagree. And
it was the same kind of like chime bell kind of pleasant hum.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see.
I'm also seeing that as maybe just like because of we've already seen the interaction between Mike and Twin Peaks with him being there, him being, you know, in the red room that you access through the Glastonbury Grove, which is close proximity to Twin Peaks. Maybe just like resonance or feedback in some way.
Yeah.
He's like a local-ish spirit to Twin Peaks, and because he's doing things that we don't even see, he's just like cooking in the background. Mm-hmm. People in the area can sometimes something like that, maybe. But yeah, I think that's a Mike thing.
So Mike has a way to approach people in their dream soul, and Cooper now has a way to connect with the dream state of the Red Room and wakes up abruptly from the coma 100%. And this
maybe people who like have become Tulpas or have like entered willingly into the Red Room in some way or another, if they're able to survive that, they can like communicate with those spirits more easily or something.
Oh, we know that this whole time the consciousness of Cooper has been in the Red Room for 25 years. So he would know how to navigate, you know, the communication, I guess, that transcends different dimensions and whatever else.
Am I wrong? Or didn't Mike show up to Dougie at one point and try to be like, wake up, wake up?
Right.
Yeah.
He did. But this is the like right in the middle of the episode, we get the actual awakening of Dale Cooper, Special Agent Dale Cooper.
Yep.
And some great scenes happened. He's just all business, getting right down to business here. Take another piece of my hair, make another tulpa.
Good old Dale.
Yep. And remembering everybody and everything that he's been with as Dougie. So he knows Janie, he knows Sonny Jim, he knows Bushnell. He gets right to business, getting things situated where he has to go to Twin Peaks. And then the music kicks in, which is a great musical sting when he's like putting on his suit and everything like that. And the button to
it's actually during the Mitchum brothers. Yeah. It's like right here when he hangs up the phone, they come together. The music starts.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting timing, but yeah, the Julia Cruz's "Falling," which is, gosh, one of the 3 probably most played songs in the entire show.
Yep. And then we get the scene where we gotta have it play out.
What about the FBI? I am the FBI.
Yes.
All time. That's an all-timer.
Oh my god.
It's like a cheer moment, you know? It's like one of those. Oh my God! Captain America grabbed the Mjolnir. It's like
when I watched the show and he said, "I am the FBI," I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I threw something. You know, like I just got so excited.
I threw something into the wall and created a big hole.
Just a great little head nod and like I am the FBI, and then the walkout, like
the assuredness and
the
slight like cheerfulness or smile that he brings to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
classic Coop is back.
Very much. It's take this man saying this line and place him in the Great Northern, and we're there, baby. We're fucking, we're hitting home.
So yeah, like we said, there's a lot that goes on in this episode, and there's a lot now that we get from Diane. she reads a text and she kind of has like this. Yeah, she has a shining moment. She's shining right now.
Yeah,
she's
she's communicating with Doc when
she's-
he's vibrating in his room
she's-
all alone.
Danny Torrancing right now. Or Jack Torrancing out the window, like, oh.
Yeah. So I think I have an idea of like what may be going on here.
Let us know. I'll leave it here.
Well, I think that she receives that text of smiley face all, and that is a double meaning text. It's like a sleeper agent thing where in her it activates two things: the like trigger to remember all the events of what happened to the real Diane up until the point of her death or becoming a Tulpa, as well as that being smiley face all, you're going to kill everybody that you've been working with on that side, that you've been in contact with.
Yep.
And so she sits at the bar and receives this text and has this moment of going through reliving all of these memories, or having these memories unlocked to her, because she says, I remember. She says something to that effect of like, oh God, I remember, or like she is not having a good time and she's remembering.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, it also seems like the kind of reaction of like her freaking out, of like psyching herself up, or just being so freaked out of like, oh God, I have to kill fucking 3 FBI agents in the middle of this hotel with like all this equipment and these people, and yeah.
Yep, and that's what we kind of contemplated, or I didn't remember what the scene was about until like she actually pulls the gun on everybody.
Because we see even in the bar that she's got a gun in her purse, so we're like, oh shit.
Chekhov's gun, dude. You don't show it unless you're gonna fucking use it, dude.
Yeah.
Yep. So she info dumps here. She kind of drops the thick plot dick.
Oh.
Thick plot Richard.
Yeah. But
she has she talks about reliving the rape that she had.
That Diane
the
real
real
rapey, dude.
The real Diane.
So
had.
yes, at some point, Doppelcoop, Mr. C, comes out of the red room, has his interaction with fucking Audrey, or like I don't know what comes first, Diane or Audrey, but I think Audrey because she's more local, and then over time, like once he's able to get out of the Twin Peaks area, somehow does something to find Diane or whatever, and does this, and it's really awful.
Yeah. So she.
But again, her
all
nails
that.
right there, correlating directly with her, not only her like clothing, but the colors of the red room, the red and the black, or dark brown maybe.
Right. So we'll get into Audrey's stuff because these are two women that were affected by Doppelcoop, or the double.
Well, I mean, there's
the doppelganger version of
there's Richard as well, because Doppelcoop, like Mr. C directly says like, goodbye my son. They covered it in the last episode where he's like, what I've seen you around Twin Peaks, or I've seen your fucking photo, or like, who the fuck are you? And he's like, I'm your father.
yeah. So we'll get into the Audrey stuff and all that entails.
So
yeah, Bradshaw, do you have questions?
all the questions. So what happened to real Diane?
Yep.
Okay.
So
The answer is yep.
what she lays out here is the rape occurs, and then after that she basically says like, and then he took me to some kind of gas station, and what she's referring to is the convenience store. And to me that means that Mr. C knew about the convenience store because Bob had been there so many fucking times. It's Bob and Mr. C, like co-inhabiting with the doppel. Yeah. So he takes Diane to the convenience store, and that's the place where they can physically cross over from the real world to the Red Room or something, where she can then become a Tulpa. So that's where we should, at least that's where I consider the death of actual Diane.
Yeah.
And the
Because
beginning of
a tulpa is like a conjured effigy of a person or a
Yeah.
Yes.
whatever.
It's
Not the
manufactured.
a manufactured recreation.
Yeah. So real Diane dead.
And it could be for any purpose, or like it could be tuned in some ways to have like specific memories or attitudes or like directives, is what it seems like.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yes, real Diane.
Tulpas
gets
are
taken
usually,
by-
I think, controlled. Tulpas, I think, are usually controlled by whoever makes them.
And so
I think.
from all of this, you know, we're led to kind of infer that the creation of Dougie at some point was a doing of Mr. C.
Okay.
Because Mr. C comes out of the Red Room, goes on to do something to Audrey, goes on to do something to Diane, and then goes on to be like criminal dude. But at some point, if he's able to like, I don't know, like before he, at some point, if he's able to take the hair off of his own head and use that as DNA, why could he not make a Tulpa? Because that's what we see Dale do here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And if he's Bob, if he's like a lodge spirit or something, or like a doppelganger that comes from the Red Room, you know, who's to say? I just think that it's very feasible for him to be able to create a Tulpa.
Right.
And we may have to like re-dig into earlier episodes to really figure out how he might have done that. But I think Mr. C creates Dougie to be a kind of like backup, like a Horcrux or something to be like a failsafe for if Mr. C ever gets if any other force tries to pull Mr. C back into the Red Room, they're going to get Dougie instead. Or there's a good chance that they'll get Dougie instead because they share the same DNA or whatever. I don't know.
Right. Okay.
You're onto something. You're onto something.
I don't know.
I would say
that's just how I feel about it. So yeah, that maybe that helps inform Eric any of the stuff happening here with Diane.
It does.
It
does.
It's all fucky, and I just that's how I feel about it.
You're either onto something or you're on something. Is common man.
Hey, why not both? I'm on Twin Peaks.
So then, after she info dumps all that, essentially what we were just talking about there, she pulls the gun on the whole crew. Albert initially just right off the bat knew what was going on.
Weird
So
frame, Albert.
Got her. And then I don't think she was in the last cut with Albert pulling out his gun, but now we got TP.
She wasn't,
up.
but yeah. She's in between cuts, so you know, she's like second to draw. Gordon didn't even have his hand on the gun at all.
Nope.
Oh no, dude. Gordon Cole doesn't need to touch a weapon, dude. He's just chilling, dude.
Well, maybe he also
Got his dogs
so
with him, dude.
bewildered,
He knows
or, like,
the dog
so
is strapped.
he was so like invested in just taking in everything that was happening. He was so distracted that he didn't think to draw.
Oh. So eerie whooshing, and then she pops out.
Yep.
We get some. She has just a weird pop out, and then they have a moment. There's a little beat after she gets sucked off.
You can see the bullet holes in the chair.
Good stuff, dude.
That's a good chuck. Good suck. Yeah, dude.
Like,
oh wow, that's good attention to detail.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, yeah. So
That's what happened.
Bullets will rip through you, dude.
Yeah.
They have a quick beat, and they said, "Wow, we just witnessed a real tulpa," and like,
yeah, they're real.
They're real
Tulpas or something like that.
Yep.
She said, "Yeah, oh,
Tulpas, they're real."
And then
our boy.
Yep. He shows up. Diane is now just sitting there kind of freaked out, and she's more of that, if you recall, Laura in Fire Walk with Me, it had some reminiscence of like when she turned bad, like she's like, oh yeah, I'm a baddie now, and like I'm gonna just do some cocaine and swear a bunch and be mean to my best friend. This is like a version of a Diane where she's the mean version of Diane. Like she's always like "fuck you" and "shut up" and like
Yeah.
she's always saying like the negatives.
The aspect that we've seen the most of out of Diane for characteristics.
Mm-hmm. And then she
But it's
pops
interesting
into a
that
JPEG.
she doesn't speak in reverse.
No.
Then we got this fucking JPEG of a fucking gold ball.
Lord.
Again, like I think put this scene next to the scene of Dougie going through the same thing, just to see how similar or different they are, would be interesting.
She got that black flame going on. Is she smoking res, dude?
Well, remember what Hawk said? He said, "What is this?" Or
the black
Robert
fire,
Forster
the
was
black
like,
fire.
What's fire? Fire's like energy. It's like,
It's light.
well, it's like, it's like energy. It's neither good nor bad. It's just the intention of the user. Well, what's black flame? Well, that's energy that's been corrupted.
Well,
So
he
if
says,
a
he's like,
black
we don't
flame
talk
is
about
coming
that.
out of her.
Oh no, that was
Yeah,
the
well,
Judy thing.
The
but-
Judy symbol. But if both Dougie and shit, there it is right there. That's, to me, that's evidence that they were both created by Doppelcoop. Is that they both have the black flame coming out of them, is they were created by somebody with bad intentions. So like, shit. All right. That makes it a lot more clean for me. God damn.
There we go.
Hell yeah, boy.
That's why we
Like-
watch this. That's why we kind of
That's why we do this together.
spill our
Yep.
guts. It helps. It helps. And I've learned a lot of new things too just by watching this episode, and it kind of makes sense and we'll get to it later, but
Quoting the gym and writer strike hero there.
Happy Belush.
we get a scene here where we have to get
That ball
Cooper
back to
get Cooper into a jet. These
Couple
are not
vouchers back
these are
there.
not extras. These are guys that were just there on the day.
What's this dude's cold chilling, dude? They're gonna see fucking 38 special at the fucking casino tonight, dude. It's gonna be tight.
They're gonna see Bob Seger.
They're gonna see,
38
like-
special.
Foreigner.
Yeah, it's a casino ass band right there. 38.
Yes, sir.
So
Fucking hold on loosely, dude. He's ready to fucking belt it out, dude. The
Don't
dude
let go.
we get
turns
Yeah,
like
man.
button up shirt with the handlebar mustache and long hair and sunglasses. He's
Yeah.
belting that shit out, dude.
Tickling too tightly.
okay. We get a really heartfelt scene now with Dale talking with his
Sounds-
family, surrogate family.
Song's about a hand job, by the way.
He's got yes, we know Groucho. Thank you.
They might not know, dude.
Janie E is her face is how I feel about this right now. Like, stop it, Eric.
So
Never.
quickly, he basically says like he's got to go, and they're like, "No,
Yeah.
Dad, you can't go. You're my dad." And he's like, "Nah, I love you.
You're not
guys.
my real
Bye."
family. Fuck you guys.
And then
Fuck
he
them
leaves.
kids. Peace out.
But he gets a
Good job.
really nice kiss from Janie E as he leaves, and then he's off.
He said, "What? I will come home soon, and when I'm home, I will be home for good."
Right.
Was this before or after Naomi Watts threw her phone at her fucking assistant?
Oh God, I don't know. look at Mitchum too.
It was
over there.
during Groucho.
Hell yeah.
Look
Look at that.
Rocking
The
it.
biggest looking cup of coffee right there.
Yep. And this is where
For
I
a
think
limousine.
Wilson,
Jeez.
you had your epiphany where they're like they have hearts of gold. It's like
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about that. And then we have Candy saying they sure do. She like
I
cries
mean,
about it.
She to me, she's like a child, like from the mouth of babes.
Yep.
She's so innocent.
Yeah, it is.
Like, there's fucking nothing going on there. So if she actually speaks up and says something that's pertinent to the conversation, it's like, oh, okay, yeah.
They are totally babes, dude.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, dude.
we get
They're
to
my favorite part.
this is a great part. So I'd like to get everybody's. Oh yeah, we got the Eddie Vedder cameo.
That's what I'm saying. But very important information for this episode. He was introduced as Edward Louis Severson, and they show him, and I'm like, that's Eddie Vedder. And then I had an epiphany, and I was like, oh shit, is that his like real born name? And it was. He was born Edward Louis Severson, but now he's Eddie Jerome Vetter. So there you go.
And that,
Most important info you will learn about this
Is it-
episode.
Is it Jerome or Jeremy?
I know, right? No, it's Jerome. Thankfully.
the announcer, the MC, says we're gonna be playing Audrey's dance, right?
It's time, dude. It's
Yeah.
time. The classic. The banger.
So she gets out there on the floor in her own space, and people sway to the same music that we remember her dancing to and swaying to at the Double R back in, you know, the original series.
And
They very creepily, like, quietly move off to the side too.
Uh-huh.
Like it's
Yeah, so
they stop. They like stop what they're doing and just like zombie is like, okay, yep.
okay, go deeper, guys, go deeper. I want us to kind of maybe get to where I'm at with
Well,
what I
maybe
think this means.
maybe your first sign. It's maybe your first, maybe not first sign, but it's a sign that something is not as it should be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Something's off. It's like why did everybody get out of the way? Why is everybody now swaying? Why is it
Why
that,
was Eddie Vedder not called by Eddie Vedder and called by his real name? You know what I mean? Like all the important questions.
Why did the MC say Audrey's song? Because that's an Angelo Badalamenti composition.
exactly?
But
That's
that
not
was
the song
I
in
think
the
that's
world
what
of
it's
Tulpa.
called, though.
It's what it's called,
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
what-
named.
Eric, that's what I'm saying.
Angelo
Like,
Badalamenti named
yeah,
the song
yeah.
after the character Audrey in the show Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
So it's becoming meta already, and this
Yeah.
is where
Meta world
I'm
peace.
just gonna like tie it together a little bit with all of the different stories that have been happening at the Roadhouse that we don't know any context of, right? We have zero understanding of like why these people are that care about such and such and so and whoever else is, you know, the situations that are happening sort of innocuous and distant from the main story, right? It's a deviation. It's like we talked about, maybe a palate cleanser, you know, not necessarily part of the main story, but just like a little blip into something that, you know, we don't know yet. And
Right.
at face value, yeah, it doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of the story of Twin Peaks, of what we're watching, right? But if you look at it as if it's like the Roadhouse, or, you know, this area is like another nexus point,
I was gonna say
or
Nexus. Yeah.
another place where stories of other dreamers, and this goes back to like who's the dreamer, right? Like from our previous episode,
Who's
where
the
it's like,
memer?
who's the memer, who's the dreamer? Is it a collective group of people? Is it one individual? Is it the fireman with Lady D? Like, is it like it can be, because that was the question posed to the audience, like, who is the dreamer? Are we supposed to see that this is Audrey's dream
Right.
that she conjured? It's different from the main story, but
all in her
it's
head.
all in her head, and that comes
It's
to
St. Elsewhere or whatever the fuck, where it's all in the fucking snow globe.
yeah, it was all in the autistic child.
Yeah.
So I've always seen this scene as being like in combination with all the other Audrey scenes that we've gotten. When you go with this scene being your like point of context, and you go back, a lot of the dialogue between her and Charlie, to me, reads like it could be between patient and doctor.
Right. Yeah.
Where
definitely.
Audrey is so
It's a Thunder
traumatized.
Island situation.
Yeah, or something like that, where this is her dream, this is her perception, but in reality, like maybe he did take, who knows? But like Charlie's her doctor, and she's been so traumatized by the assault by Coop, by the explosion, by her time in a coma, all these things, that she's come out of it a broken person. Like she doesn't remember a lot of stuff, or she has a changed personality somehow. But there are moments that like ring true for her, and maybe Charlie's like, I don't know, she like lives in an insane asylum or something like that, and Charlie is her doctor, and she just like walked into the room one day and she's like, this thing about Billy, and he's like, okay, it's my patient, I know she's crazy, I'm tired. Like, because it's late.
Yeah.
He's tired. He's got work to do. But and then at the very end, like it just culminates in this weird, moment where she like goes too deep and then has this moment of like waking up and realization of like, oh my god, what's happening?
Get me out
I
of
was
here.
gonna say this episode has a lot of waking up and like realization. You
There
have
you go.
fucking Diane,
All right.
you have Diane
So
waking up, realizing. You have Coop waking up, realizing. You have fucking Audrey waking up, realizing.
and this
on
works.
this episode.
This works on multiple different levels here. So we have what was the last thing we saw Audrey do before the return? What was she doing?
She was fucking chained to the door of the bank, or like the vault. in the
Exactly.
bank.
So the aftermath of that, what do you suppose could have happened to her? She could have gone into a coma and
They
been
told us.
in a coma for a long time. She then
They said
visited through some kind of dream, and this is me just spitballing an idea here. Somehow, the Doppelkoop invaded her dream and impregnated her with Richard, and basically through that process, she became actually pregnant and gave birth while still in a coma.
So
Do you think that was like Doppelkoop's modus operandi, was to father a child with one of these women so that he could use him as a tool to do whatever the fuck he did?
It's similar to what
it's very possible.
we had, other FBI guy, what's his name again? Frick.
Which
Wyndham
one?
The
Earl.
main, Wyndham Earl was
Yeah.
trying to find women for a nefarious situation.
So they actually laid out like not super directly, but they've said enough things about it that we know, like basically yes. I think even in like the second to last or the last episode of season 2, they laid out that Audrey survived the explosion but was in a coma. And then in this, the return, they said something about like they laid out some kind of like loose timeline of like Dale coming out of the Red Room, being under the care of Doc Hayward, kind of like helped inform it a little bit, where he was like, yeah, he was under our care, and then we checked him out and he seemed like he was all fine and we let him go, but there was some like mention or rumor or record of him like visiting Audrey in the hospital while she was in a coma and then leaving after he had left the Red Room. So I've always been under the assumption that he assaulted her while she was in a coma.
Yeah, while she was in a coma. That's what I thought too. Yeah, even though I hadn't seen up to this, that's what I think I remember reading or something like that.
Yeah, because then like how else do we explain, like how else do we reconcile her actually giving birth to Richard, and this not just being like an immaculate conception kind of thing? Like,
Possibly, but it's open to interpretation, because we know right now she
Possibly.
is not in her right state of mind. What we have seen of Audrey is that she is in her own dream. So she's either still in a coma or somehow just under a weird trance.
Or she's so traumatized by what happened that like she is just living in she is separated from reality, and sometimes like
so she literally Shutter Island herself.
Yeah,
where
like
she thinks she's in a situation, but she's not.
She just has these mental breaks, and then has these moments of touching back to reality, where now she's like looking in the mirror, like, oh God, what like. But
so this is where I think it would be good for us to watch Mulholland Drive after maybe Twin Peaks.
Oh yeah,
because
it's on Max. It's on Max.
Let's please continue the David Lynch after this.
Yeah, we won't abandon Lynch. That could be our answer. Is that we won't abandon Lynch. We'll bring that boy in.
What's here? Hold on, I gotta look up the most recent Jason Mraz.
Jason Mraz.
What?
Well, yeah, the Elephant Man.
Oh, that was John Mayer.
Oh, you mean fucking John Mayer, dude?
No. I was trying to like weirdly like Nelson Mandela like 6 degrees it.
Yeah. Trying to fucking fuck with me, dude?
Yeah, all of a sudden we spread it to Jason Mraz being the Elephant Man. No, John Mayer. We should watch the most recent John Mayer performance.
Live concert. Now you see what David Lynch did here.
Did John Mayer ever act in anything? I think he did. IMDb, John Mayer.
IMDb.
It's spelled that way.
So
did never-
what we're supposed to derive from this, I guess, to end this discussion is that she's definitely in a psychiatric institution and getting treated by a Charlie-type doctor.
Yeah.
But she's constantly going to this memory of
Those
where
Charlie-type
she,
doctors.
like at the Roadhouse, where she can be in her most purest form, kind of, you know, in the original series, when we saw her do that dance, she was very much in her own head, dreamily, like moving around, like she was in a trance of sorts, like carefree and nothing, you know, is, you
It's
know, no
circular.
stresses. And so
Most
now
her in that situation, and her coming back to that brings her out of her thing back to herself. Right?
exactly, isn't that strange
Circular.
how that happened? Is like once she did the dance within her dream, it woke
Yep.
herself up.
Yep.
Like it's kind of her you know, sleeper cell
The
kind
most
of
hurt she's ever
activation.
been, you know what I mean?
She-
Yeah,
she-
maybe in
she
her mind, the
delved
most hurt
too
she's ever
deep.
been was in that
She-
dance.
Mhm.
Like in her dreamy exploration and living in this world of separated reality, she got too close to reality and touched the nerve where she was like, "Oh shit, I'm waking up."
Mhm. It's like when you're in a dream and your dream self is going to sleep, and your dream self is dreaming about waking
dream
up,
soul.
and then you wake up. it's
Yeah,
it's an inception of dreams, a dream within
it's
a
like when
dream.
you're dreaming, and then you're peeing in your dream, and then you wake up, and then you're peeing in real life. You know
But
what
there
I mean?
was like,
Yeah,
there was
just
a
like when
line
I'm
that
eating in my
Audrey-
dream, I'm just eating in real life.
Yeah.
There was a line that Audrey had in the second, maybe in one of the scenes that she had with Charlie, where she said, like, "What story is that, Charlie? Was it the story of the little girl who lived down the lane?"
Mm-hmm.
And that to me was like a kind of like summarization of maybe how Audrey might have seen herself previously, like
Right.
a little girl who lived down the lane, who got into mischief, who tried to solve mysteries, who yada yada yada. And yeah, I think if you go back and you try to look at those scenes as being like what we are seeing is not actually what's happening, I think you can read into those dialogues a bit more acutely.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I'm really interested in what the fireman said about like who's the dreamer, right? And what that episode kind of gave us as like a hint of like if this is all a dream or if it's a single entity's dream or if
It was
it's
all a dream.
if it was a collective dream. And we know Lynch has a lot of like dream theories in his films, but that aspect kind of really
Dead ass.
it connected with me. And like whenever I look at some of the, because I look for pictures and images for like thumbnails and stuff like that for The Return, there's a promotional image that came out when they did like a magazine for like when The Return was happening, and like you see them all positioned in such a way, sitting down, like sitting in chairs in the red room, but like one of the main focuses is Audrey standing, doing her kind of like wispy hand motions, like she's still dancing in her mind.
She's dreaming.
So she's definitely a big facet of the dream of Twin Peaks. You know, like she's one of the main dreamers, I'm gonna call them, like one of the mystic warriors that keep the, I don't know, just there's something to it. Keep the evil there, or keep the evil away from them, or
Maybe
Right.
attract the evil there.
trapping the evil in Twin Peaks. Yeah.
Like they attract it, like with their innocence or their perversion, like maybe Laura, but like They just, for some reason or another, the Garmonbozia that they collect or create or experience is enough to draw these entities to want to draw off of them.
Yeah, and we know that that's a big thing, like with Laura Palmer, and we know that with Shelley and yeah, who else? A big one from the original series. The main ones that Wyndham Earl wanted to like take.
Shelley.
It was Shelley, Annie, Audrey, and there was
Fucking.
one other.
It was Donna.
Laura. Donna. Yeah.
Yes, it was Donna. But I mean, tons of people in the show Twin Peaks could have been experiencing something that would have produced Garmonbozia in one way or another. Yeah, I just think that like there's definitely a correlation between like the people that experienced a lot of emotional turmoil and what we see going on here, even in The Return.
Right.
And you're talking about like who is the dreamer, the assertion that we live inside of a dream. If there are things that you didn't remember about this episode, I would say let's reapproach that question after next episode, because I feel pretty confidently that next episode's going to like very directly address that question.
Right.
Probably not answer it, but at least address it.
Address it.
Right.
So David Lynch does addresses things, but he doesn't necessarily answer things.
That's what I'm like. That's the penultimate one. So yeah, won't you join us for the next episode, episode 17, the past.
The Penn and Teller episode.
The Penn and Teller? No, the penultimate.
Pencil ultimate, and then erase
The
it.
ultimate pencil.
Because you can. That's what you can do.
Pens are kind of the ultimate pencil. I mean, you know what I mean?
Hey, pencil's permanent. Pencil's temporary. Pen's ultimate.
Pens are forever, dude.
Do you guys
Pens
want to
are
know
forever.
what this next episode's called?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Part 17. The past dictates the future.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah, it does.
So, that already is giving me a lot of insight into, you know, looking back at the original series and how it dictates what the hell's going on in the return, you know? So, join us for that next episode. Let us know your thoughts on this huge info dump of an episode, this huge, just...
It's the most satisfying info dump I've had, though.
It was a lot of, you know, big moments, you know, Dale Cooper coming back saying, I am the FBI, you know, just...
Yeah, that's all you needed for this episode. Is I am the FBI. But you know,
if that's...
I am the FBI.
Yeah, if no other comments about discussions or anything like that, just please leave a I am the FBI in the
I
comment.
am the FBI. Yes.
I just want a huge
comments,
thread, huge thread of people just saying that, please.
Yeah, I am the FBI.
So we'll be back with the next episode soon.
Second
Thanks.
to last episode.
Second
And
to-
ultimate.